Do-do-do-do-do-do. Welcome back, Nap Trappers. Happy Thursday. Today is Sleep Detectives, where we are going to answer semi-rapid fire, but you know we love to get deep and have a chat. All of your burning baby sleep questions. Now, Beck, I know you and I put out a question box, so we've both got questions. I am going to dive in with a really easy one, which is it too late to sleep train my 8-month-old? And I know you and I are going to have the same answer here. Should we just say it? 3, 2, 1. It's never too late.
No. I mean, I would totally get the question if, say, as somebody said, is it too late to train my 5-year-old?
Not a lot of
again, I would still say no, but yeah, but no, 8-month-old. No, it's fresh, still fresh, so to speak. So yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Let's
if
go
anything, I think it's a great, I mean, you and I think it's one of the most common ages we work with, which I should tell listeners and this mother, you're just not alone. So this baby had been rocked and patted to sleep, all of which is completely normal and common in the scenarios that we see, and it also can often have a shelf life, either because it stops working or as a parent you think this baby's maybe getting a bit heavy, I'd like to have someone else be able to do this has run its course. No time like the present. Fabulous age.
And I think you're also so much more comfortable with your baby as well. So you're not, in those early days, you're sort of like, I don't want to break them, but even changing their nappy and putting the onesie over the top of their heads, it's like, it's like, you're doing everything so gingerly. 8 months on, you're just, you're flipping baby back and forth. Like,
they're rolling, they're on the move, they're sitting up in the high chair.
And you've got solids in the mix.
Yes.
Yeah. And you've probably, established some sort of pattern with your daily grind. It's one of those things where I feel like a great opportunity, a great age, we're on board with 8-month-olds and feel like it's a pretty quick resolution once you've got all the ducks lined up, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I actually find that you can also have confidence because developmentally we know they're so capable. Like I don't bat an eyelid about the idea of an 8-month-old baby being able to link a sleep cycle during a nap.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Absolutely. We can rock that. 4 months old, I might be saying, okay, well, it's great if they do, but we don't have to, that doesn't have to be the goal. But at 8 months, I'd be like, no, let's crack on here. This baby can absolutely do it. So from a developmental perspective, you can go in pretty confident to this process.
Yep. I love it. 8-month-olds are great.
Absolutely. Okay. What have I got? When events are planned during baby's nap, how do I enjoy life and still get baby's nap in?
It all boils down to, sorry.
I was just going to say the reason I paused is because there's part of me that has the sleep consultant answer and then part of me that's the mother who was like, no, we'll stay home. We will attend late. Because there's sort of two conflicting parts of the brain that are meshing for me. But what would you say if you put your sleep consultant hat on?
I automatically, and this is funny because I think this happened in a different episode as well, where I automatically assume that the listener is asking the question for naps and not bedtime. And so there's two different answers.
Oh, this one is when they're planned during baby's naps.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right. Sorry. I wasn't listening.
we both had a brain fade then. You just stopped listening and I was thinking, how do I tell this mother I'd just stay home?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think the key thing is if you're on a really great nap routine through the day, you're using the internal clock as a way to help you get out and about. And so if your naps are roughly the same time each day, then melatonin is being released at the same timing. So it means that you can take your naps in different locations a little easier. So I usually, let's just say, for example, baby is 6 months and the toddler has got a lunchtime event and you need to go to preschool or whatnot to go and have a little look. So I would actually do lunch at home. I would take baby in the car well away from the expected nap time so that there's zero chance of them falling asleep in the car. If they have a tendency to fall asleep in the car, then windows down, AC/DC on.
Yeah.
Like, you are just trying to get
That
you
was
need to
me
try and work
blasting
this.
every
Yeah.
rendition of Old MacDonald. Every animal lives on that farm that I could think of.
So you're trying to get there, and then I would just sort of set baby up in the pram. So they're sitting up, having a little look around, and then once it's nap time, reclining, dark cover over the top, sending the sleepy vibes, doing a little bit of motion. Like, if you have to use motion and rocking and all the things to get them asleep, maybe you're using the carrier, but you want to try and time the nap at a very similar time for when they would actually be in the cot at home taking their naps. The same would go for like a lunchtime, beautiful, winery lunch. If you were out and about with, your partner or girlfriends or whatnot, I would use the pram. Like, I love a pram for these scenarios where you can get out and about, baby's not in your arms, so you've got your hands free. You've just got to attempt it. The key is practice, because it may not go amazing the first time round, but you learn something in that moment, and then you can apply it the second time round. But you've just got to back yourself. I mean, that's just the key mantra for parenting, isn't it? Like, back yourself, back your child,
And
keep practicing.
it's only one day. Chances are it's only one day. With my first, who was such an easy sleeper, this was just no big deal. I would pop her in. I would drive to Pilates in the time that would take her to fall asleep in the capsule. I'd transfer the capsule onto the pram and she'd stay asleep for Pilates. The same, I used to take myself to the like parents and babies movie session on a Thursday, and I used to give her an earlier nap. She used to fall asleep mid-movie in the pram. Like, I just, this baby understood the assignment. The reason I hesitated before is because I think I'm still traumatized is probably a intense word, but my second baby was not go with the flow, and so there was big crying, even in the car, even in the pram. But I did it, like, because I had a toddler, I'd take him to the zoo and I would be pounding that pavement with the snooze shade on, the white noise on, and I just had to sort of get through it. And he would eventually fall asleep. But I think that is that's what's blinding me a little bit here, is that it was just, some babies are trickier to do it on the go than others, but it is absolutely still worth it. I think if you go into these moments with just realistic expectations as well, that they're not going to probably sleep for as long, unless they're like my first baby, who just could sleep anywhere and everywhere, a mini snoozosaurus. If you get 38 minutes out of your ideally 2-hour lunch nap, we take it. They fall asleep in the car on the way, like early to bed. You might have some, and then you just get back on track the next day. I used to use the pram too, and I used to send my husband. So I would stay at the table eating and be like, can you go and take him? And he'd be out walking for 30 minutes, trying to get this baby to sleep. And I've also had to surrender to be like, this isn't going to work today. This baby's happy being up. I'm just going to have to roll with it. So I think all of those scenarios exist out there, and a lot of it will come down to temperament. And I think you're right. It's so much is just practice, and then being like, oh, that did work, or nope, it didn't. I'm going to either roll with it or prioritize differently.
Like, I love the idea that it's okay to say no as well. So, like, you do have to prioritize. And so I think that that's really important as a parent, to be able to say, you know what, typically going out at this time of the day creates a bit of a shit show later on for me. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this event? And if it's not rating highly and you are wanting to prioritize bedtime, just roll with it and be okay with it. And another opportunity will typically arise, so
Definitely.
Just prioritize. It's fine to say no. Totally okay to say no.
Yep.
And protect
I'm
your
just
schedule.
even thinking, I had a 5-month-old at my brother's wedding, and I just bounced with him in the carrier off to the side during speeches, and we just rolled with it. I do think it also, sort of back to your point of the power of the schedule and the internal body clock. If you have an otherwise pretty consistently great sleeper, these sorts of days are significantly easier, rather than already playing with the schedule of an overtime. If a baby's chronically overtired, then we throw something in the mix that can feel a little bit more loosey-goosey. Whereas if you're like, that's okay, because I know tomorrow will be fine and today was great, it's just the one in between, everyone's got the threshold for it. But essentially, life does need to be lived.
if you are the type of person that does want to get out and about, you're the type of person that needs a schedule.
Yes. The schedule gave me freedom back because I knew
Yep.
when I could get out and about. I
Yeah.
knew my limits. I knew, 15 minutes here or there, wasn't
Mhm.
going to make or break if I got caught
Mhm.
up. I knew when I could try and attempt a car nap and time things
Yeah.
with that with sleep pressure on my side. I knew when swimming lessons could be.
Yes.
The schedule gave me freedom.
Yeah, I attest to that.
Yeah.
For many families, they feel like it's the opposite, that the scheduling traps them,
Mm,
but it is the opposite.
yes.
And if you listen to the podcast, you'll understand why for all the various reasons, how it
Mm.
can work in your favor and how it means you can be flexible and adaptable and get out and about and all the things. So yeah.
And I think there's no right or wrong way, and different families have different needs. But I think if you're listening to a baby sleep podcast, that probably tells me that sleep is of a priority for you, and you're trying
Mm,
to piece together some tips to get better sleep. So a
mm.
schedule is the place to start, definitely. Okay, here we go. Oh, this is actually a good one because I know we've got the same answer to this. Do you recommend a full wake window on either side of the third nap for 7 months old off a 30-minute nap?
Full wake window leading into nap 3,
Well, they said either
but
side, but I'm already thinking about
other
the
end,
wake. Yeah, I'm
the
thinking
one
about
to
the wake
bed.
window from after. So, yeah, I mean, it depends on your nap schedule, but I'd be using So, for example, I can tell you what I'm doing at the moment with an almost 7-month-old baby at the moment. We have a 12:45 till 2:15 lunch nap,
Yep.
and then we have an afternoon nap based off a full wake window. I think we're doing 5 till 5:30. And then 30-minute nap, then we are doing a 2-hour wake window until bed. So that baby is going into bed at 7:30.
I have exactly the same schedule for that age.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. So
So, full
why
wake
people
window
get
off the long nap to get
yeah.
you to the 30 minutes, and then a short one, a 2-hour after the 30-minute nap to bed.
And
Sorry,
the
I didn't mean to
reason
cut
why
you
we
off.
have the shorter wake window from the end of the 30-minute nap is because we are manipulating that final nap of the day to create enough sleep pressure, sleep drive to move our babies through into a seamless first half of the night, which is typically the deepest part of the night with sleep. And because we're a full sleep cycle is say 40 to 45 minutes, we're capping it at 30 minutes, which means that we're trimming their sleep needs, but there's still sleep pressure there because they
Mhm.
haven't had a complete sleep cycle. So when we wake them or they wake after that 30 minutes, there's still sleep pressure in the tank. So we can't do a full 2.5 hour 2 hours 3/4 for a wake window at this point. We know we've only got a 2 hour maximum window of time because they've still got that sleep pressure in the tank. So we're building up. Also, the other thing too is uh, often if you've got a lot of time between the end of the last nap and bedtime, you start sort of dicking around and we start adding things into the mix. Sometimes you lose track of time. Maybe there's an extra feed. Sometimes babies are getting hungry. Whereas
Mm.
if you've listened to our bedtime schedule, you'll know that we sort of have really structured timings for
Yeah.
solids,
You don't
bath,
need to make decisions
playtime, and
hold
it's
on.
sort of like bang, 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 bang to bed. Like everyone knows exactly what we're doing. The pattern is established, and there's no fluffing around. So it just means for a really quick, succinct bedtime, and you're at maximum sleep pressure at that 2 hour mark. So it should mean that when you are working with a little one to establish self-settling skills at bedtime, we know that they are well rested, not overtired, not undertired, and we're giving them the absolute best shot of learning to self-settle with none of those issues under their belt.
Mm. And this question and this structure of the schedule, I think, is the perfect reason why it's important to understand the why, because
Mm.
the 30 minutes is incredibly different from a 45-minute
Yeah.
nap for a baby at this age. So there's method to the madness as to why it is capped. And, I've talked a lot before about how I think of this nap as the rice cooker nap where you're just
Oh,
releasing
yeah.
a little bit of the steam, not taking the whole lid off. But when the algorithm serves me baby sleep advice, it's often saying how the last wake window of the day should be the longest. We want to drive all of the sleep pressure towards an easy bedtime. And there is no one way to do things, but this is how we would do it based off the 30-minute nap, not just any afternoon nap. It's based off this structure in particular. And I think once I've had families understand that, and although they might have been scared to be like, that's such a short wake window we've been doing, significantly more, but they've also had tears at bedtime, false starts, wakings before midnight. Once we actually bring it back, that organically resolves, usually without any sleep training technique at all. So it can feel scary to use such a short wake window, thinking this is never going to work, this baby's never going to fall asleep. But this is where you got to trust the process based off the 30-minute afternoon nap.
It is. And when we're doing those naps, we cannot stress the importance, though, of that it has to be a 30-minute nap. So we can't just sort of go, oh, lose track of time, and then a 37-minute nap, that'll do, because that then the wake windows change and so forth. So but of course, it all changes if the second nap. This is all based on the theory that the second nap has been a good one at this age. If the second nap has been an absolute disaster, then there are times when we would actually use a longer third nap just to sort of add sleep into the sleep tank as such, in which case, if we were using a 45-minute nap to build that, we would then use a full wake window afterwards. So just to confuse everyone, but just worth mentioning.
Yeah. Assuming they're on our schedule and taking that.
Yeah, that's right. It sounds like they are, though, because they know about the 30-minute nap.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you for listening. All right, I've got one more and then I'll hand over you. This is for an 8-month-old baby. If baby catnaps less than 40 minutes, how long do you resettle before giving up on the nap?
Well, this
For
really
me, it would
depends on what schedule.
Yeah, and what the goal is, like, where are we up
Mm.
to? Are we actively nap training? Can baby self-settle at bedtime and overnight, and now we're just working on the nap? At 8 months old, is baby on 2 naps, still on 3 naps? Which nap are we working on?
Yeah.
Is this just a one-off too? Sometimes if it's just a one-off, I might say, okay, well, I know that this isn't an ongoing, this is just a furphy. Maybe I'll give 20 minutes and then call it a day. Like, that's probably how I would have tackled it with one of my own babies. I'm like, oh, this is so random. Okay, we'll move on, because I had the tools and the confidence to be like, this isn't the way something's just happened today. But if this is an ongoing thing and we're trying to fix the catnaps, which I suspect is probably more the situation here, I just want to know where they're up to in their nap training.
Yeah, I think as like a general rule of thumb, if a little one has woken early from their nap, and I'm just going to shoot out, like, if the nap was supposed to be 45 minutes, we're not sweating it, like they're just getting up.
No. If it was meant to be 45 minutes, no naps.
If they're on a 2-nap schedule and that nap was like 9:30 to 11 and they've woken after 45 minutes, or 40 minutes or just short of that.
40.
Typically I would just say, well, let's try and resettle for, like, give it 15 minutes. If it's working, it's working. If it's not, pull the pin and we just move on with our day. And then we would sort of tackle nap 2 and sort of see how they go there. If it was an established pattern where they're just not being able to link their sleep cycles, then we would have a protocol for that. That would mean we're using a technique to encourage a longer nap. And so that would be finding a technique that floats your boat and sort of going with that.
Yeah, and in that case, you'd usually be looking for so if we use your example of the 9:30 to 11, you'd be using that technique from when they woke up until 11 to help lengthen out and essentially nap train that nap. But for me, that's sometimes the final piece of the sleep training process. Like, I've conquered nights, then we work on falling asleep for the nap independently, and then we work on lengthening through some nap training. The reason I would say sometimes we just call it a day at 20 minutes, and I know you just said 15, is sometimes just as the mother in me, I think there is never any benefit to a baby crying and a mother crying with a really unsuccessful resettle approach and you just feel like this is
Mm,
hopeless day in, day out. And so if you are feeling like that, it doesn't have to be that.
mm,
You and I work with catnapping babies every single
mm.
week, and
Yep.
there is a process and a formula and a protocol, to use your words, Beck, to make that nap lengthen in the most easy way possible. Make it
Yeah.
sustainable, achievable. You'll see the wins, and at 8 months old, your baby absolutely can do it. We just talked about that before. Developmentally, it's possible, but you need to have a bit of a plan in place. It's the things that are happening usually either side of that nap that are gonna dictate as to whether or not that baby's gonna continue to wake up and has the ability to fall back to sleep.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think sometimes it's big picture rather than focusing on the one thing.
Mm,
So quite often with naps aren't falling into place because there's nights maybe aren't quite amazing. Maybe there's
mm,
feeds that are sort of, so it can be big picture
yep,
scenario. And once you've sort of like lined up all the ducks as such, they will tend to sort of start falling into place, especially if you've got a
mm,
really good plan. So I guess if
mm.
you're really struggling with naps, um, that's where having like an extra pair of eyes on your situation and having a look at your scheduling and so forth
Yeah,
can
yeah.
really make a big difference, and where sleep consultants can help
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. Okay, Beck, what have you got for us?
My first question is my 8-month-old struggles with the 7 a.m. feed. We'll still have an overnight feed around 2 a.m. So I feel like we've got the same answer for this one too.
Yes, the 7 a.m. we always want to protect. I love that they're mentioning that they've got this 7 a.m. I know they didn't use the word anchored, but in my head, I'm I'm imagining
Oh yeah,
our
like yeah,
terminology. Like they've anchored in 7 a.m. You
yeah,
have been listening,
yep.
and you're noticing that it's impacting and why that can
Mm,
be a problem as you move through the day. So, A+ student right there.
yeah.
My guess is
Amazing.
that 2 a.m. is impacting the 2 a.m. feed is impacting 7 a.m., and we need to look to reduce it, if not drop it completely.
Yeah, the 7 a.m. Feed tells you everything you need to know about what's happening overnight.
Mhm.
So it's like opening a newspaper and, reading through, what's happened the previous day.
Yeah.
So at 7 a.m., if that's, you're protecting that because that feed is the one that's going to set you up for the rest of the day. So if the 7 a.m. feed is Dicky, not the greatest. You can feel that, there's still milk left in the jugs as such,
Yep.
or, left in the bottle. Then
I
it's a
love that
case
visual.
of sort of, yeah. Well, I think after, you know,
Yeah,
so
we'll do another
the,
episode
yeah.
on that. Just to be cryptic.
Yeah, that's right. So, uh, absolutely, I'm in 100% agreement. If the feed at 7 a.m. is a struggle, then we look at how much we're offering overnight. So it's a case then of restructuring, redistributing, reorganizing those feeds. So whether you resettle the 2 a.m.
Mhm.
feed the next and then make it a really small one, or you keep the 2 a.m. feed, but you, instead of offering two breasts, you offer 1.5, or
Yep,
180 mils drops to 140. So
yep.
you're starting to you're looking at the 7 a.m. feed and going, I need to bump this up. So I need to take some milk out of the equation
Yep,
overnight. So it's just a case of remembering that you want your little one to go back off to sleep quickly and easily and sleep well, but not so much that it impacts the first feed
yep,
of the day.
yep. I have just pulled up. Again, I'm working with a baby that's slightly younger at the moment, but we have an overnight weaning plan, and this baby is bottle fed, so I know the volumes. But just to give a listener a reference, because I think sometimes I'm not sure if this baby in your question box is breastfed or bottle fed. It doesn't matter from the
Mm.
plan perspective, but obviously it's harder to have a visual of how much is going
Oh,
in,
yes.
especially at 2 a.m. when you're probably trying not to doze off in
Yeah.
the chair, as it is. But so the plan I have is that when this baby's first waking happened at 3 a.m., the baby was getting 130 mils. When that first waking happened at 4 a.m., this baby was getting 100 mils. And when this baby was waking at 5 a.m., which he's currently doing, he's getting 50 mils. So just a little sip and then back
Yeah.
down so as to not compromise the 7 a.m. And once that first waking hits at 5:30, on our plan that I've got for him, there won't be any milk. We're just going to resettle, resettle, resettle. until 7 a.m. and then that baby is going to devour, and you'll watch the calories across the day and the increased interest in solids all start to recalibrate. But I think sometimes it can have, even for a breastfeeding mother, just a visual representation of like, oh, okay, this is how much we would be whittling down
Yes.
as the hours.
Meals-wise.
Yeah, meals-wise. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always helpful.
Yeah. And look, that doesn't have to be the plan for everyone, but just to give a visual representation of what I'm currently doing with a family. I
Also,
actually
just
went, oh, yeah, you go.
oh God, sorry to cut you off. I just got really
No.
excited. But I just also thought, okay, so, and then one little tip for that particular mum would be if baby is, so 8-month-old, still having a feed around 2 a.m., if it's become habitual, then what I would do at 8 months is I would add a little bit extra into lunch or a little bit into dinner and then pick a night and go, you know what, I'm going to resettle 2 a.m. Mainly because it's been habitual. So here's the tip.
Yes.
Give a little bit extra through the day, build your confidence around there's some extra calories going in, resettle the 2 a.m. milk feed time, feed the next, but make it a really small feed just to get through to 7 and see how you go.
I'm going to tell you, because this is kind of what I was going to say, but from a real, and I'm pretty sure I've like touched on this story before, but I had a feed that crept back in at 6 months for my second baby that became habitual at 2 a.m. A huge breastfeed. It didn't impact 7 a.m. It was, but whatever. I was like, you don't need this. And the reason I'd kept it is I didn't want the toddler to wake when I resettled it. So we went to Noosa. We had this big house, and I put his bedroom as far away from the toddler as possible, and I resettled 2 a.m. And what ended up happening was I ended up dropping the feed cold turkey because he didn't wake again after that. The next waking was 7 a.m. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And he woke habitually 2 nights at roughly 2:30 and would put himself back to sleep. I think it took about 40 minutes each night, but then put himself back to sleep until 7 a.m. And then after those 2 nights, didn't wake since. So there is also a world in which you don't get a 3 a.m. or a 4 a.m. that you just sleep through because they're like, hey, I was just having that for fun anyway.
Yeah, I was just having you on, Mum.
And
I don't need it.
Because I remember one of the catalysts in Noosa for me making that decision, it wasn't that he was just having like the smallest sip and I'd weaned it down. He ate so much that I remember one night he just vomited it all back over me. Like he was so full, and I had this clinical oversupply, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. You swallow it like you didn't get it. It's just all now on 2 a.m. So it definitely wasn't a small feed, and my resettling turned into, oh, we've dropped this cold turkey.
Amazing. It's, it's just about having a clear plan, following through, backing yourself, backing baby. We will say this until the cows come home. Okay, my next question is, this is very similar. How to navigate naps on the go with a 6-month-old. We just answered this in question number 1. Timing. So using your nap timings and then just practice. Just practice getting in the car. And
I will also say the fact that all of these questions have really been today for 6 to 10-month-old babies, just again, you're not alone. This is the most common age group that we work with. There's a lot going on, and it can feel really lonely. And this episode should just show you already you are never alone in this. And I also think to have some flexibility. Let's say, how old this baby was? 6 months old?
6 months. Yep.
Yeah. So 3 nap schedule. I usually say nap 1 and nap 3 are the ones to do out on the go. So if it's just day-to-day flexibility that you're looking for, rather than I have an event, how do I structure that? I'd say, okay, well, we're only looking for probably 45 minutes in the morning anyway. Do you want to do that walking around the park or in the car on the way home from kinder drop off because baby falls asleep? And then nap 3, that's on the dog walk or the toddler's on the scooter next to you, or you just want to hold your baby. That's also okay too. And then prioritize nap 2 to be the one that's at home in the cot, in the dark, in the den. It's a nice long chunky one. But 1 and 3 are the one to do on the go.
I think this is where we differ from a lot of sleep consultants, where we're not angling for massive long naps like in the morning. And this we're just and so that's why I feel like our schedules can be more realistic in terms of being able to get out and about flexibility-wise,
Yep.
having little ones more adaptable to falling asleep in different ways. Give it a whirl. It's just practice.
It's
Yep.
just practice. And like I said back on that other question, some babies are just easier. And I just used to always anticipate, mine were just always one sleep cycle wonders on the go. So that the first and the third nap were perfect for that. And it just never put pressure on me then to be like, they got to sleep for 90 minutes. I got to keep rocking in between the sleep cycle. I got to keep walking. I just took what they gave me, and then I opened up the flap and they could look out and we could keep going, and we just moved on with our day.
I am one of those lucky ones where all three, once they were on their one nap schedule, which was 12:30 till 3 p.m., if I put them in the pram and we were out, they would sleep the full 2.5.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they were amazing sleepers.
What do you
a
think
temperament.
Is that
it all
temperament?
boils down to.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's temperament. I'm back then they were all phenomenal sleepers in the end. Temperament now, they're all so different as teenagers. So parenting them all differently now. But when it came to sleep, I was fairly similar with, the way that I did everything with them. Okay, so nap, question number. Have we done enough? Have we done enough questions?
Well, now you've planted that teaser.
I know. Oh my God. And now I'm like,
this poor listener can't have a.
Yeah, she's like, okay, I'm coming up.
Message to me. Sorry.
10-month-old wakes at 6:30, up at 7, first nap at 9:30 to 11, second nap 2 till 3:30. How to move wake window half an hour, I'm guessing. So the first nap starts at 10 a.m. I think that's what she's meaning. I'm a bit of a stickler here. Like, unless your little one is actively resisting and refusing to fall asleep at 9:30, I actually wouldn't change it. I would just sort of roll with it, because there's going to be a time.
He's not wanting to fall asleep at 9:30?
No, the question is how to move the wake window half an hour, first nap 10 a.m. Sorry to my listener, to my follower. I'm a little confused. Unless she's asking, now they've moved the wake window half an hour, so the first nap starts at 10. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, or are they trying to get from 6:30 a.m. to a 7 a.m. wake and hoping that if they shift the first nap, that'll get the 6:30 to a 7 a.m. We might need more information on this one. If this is your question, maybe can you message Beck?
I'll reply back to you and then get some clarification. I just assumed.
Well, let's answer it the way you interpreted it.
Okay, so if you wanted to move it to 10 a.m., you're going to find that in the very short, near future, your little one's going to start resisting falling asleep at 9:30 anyway. So organically, it's going to move to a 10 a.m. nap to 11 o'clock, like if you wanted to stay on that schedule. If baby has now moved the wake window half an hour and the first nap is starting at 10 a.m., totally fine. You can just rock it until 11 o'clock as per normal, and then nap 2 starts at 2 till 3:30. So just roll with it as it is. If nap 2 is totally fine, you just keep everything sort of hunky-dory, stay put.
Yep.
It only begins to be a problem when nap 2 starts to sort of get really iffy and dicky and resistant and so forth, in which case that's a different question, different answer.
Yeah. So in case anyone was also wondering how much prep we do before we read these questions.
That's a very clear indication. Oops.
We just have a crack. I need more, but your answer made sense with your interpretation.
Okay, great. We'll just roll with it.
Yeah, hopefully that helps.
Yep, I'm sure it will. But I'll message you.
Yeah, and then if you get an update, we can answer it on the next one.
Part 2 coming your way.
Yeah. All right, maybe we should prep for these beforehand. All right. Well,
we're fast
thank you so much.
We
are fast and loose. That's what sleep detectives are. We haven't got time to mess around. We've got crimes to solve. So we will see you.
Sleep timing crimes.
Oh, tell me a split night isn't if it doesn't feel like a sleep crime.
Yes,
when
that's
you're
right.
living and breathing it.
It's hard work.
It is.
All right,
All right.
guys.
On that note, we'll see you on the next episode. And
See you next Thursday.
yeah, the more information, the better, which is actually really hard in a question box. So that's on us. We need to follow up.
Maybe we put 2 question boxes up. So
Yeah.
Part 2.
Well,
okay, guys.
No, that reminds me, we're going to try and
Don't leave yet. Stay listening.
leave.
Stay listening. Sally's got something important to say.
We want to create a hotline where you can call in and leave your voice question, your voice memo note.
Yeah.
Like an old school answering machine. And that way we can get more information, and then we can base these episodes on your real life little mini case study. So stay tuned once we figure out the tech for that. Which, how long's a piece of string for you and I, Beck?
I mean, yeah. But that would be very exciting. I'd love to do that. So hopefully we've got some listeners who are keen to share their lovely, sweet, tired voice with us, and we can solve all their problems. Yay!
All right, that's Sleep Detectives for this week. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Catch ya. Bye.